Hey guys, what is up? So today we're gonna be doing a nice, simple, and delicious Asian salt and pepper pork chops. Now this is also called junyu guai in Chinese, and I'm gonna show you the best, crispiest, and flavorful way. And we're just gonna be using tapioca starch. That's gonna be the secret of the recipe. Tapioca starch is really crispy once it's fried, unlike cornstarch, which can be soggy sometimes, I feel. So let's go. Alright, so first off, you're gonna want to get 7 cloves of garlic, and then we're gonna slice it and then mince it up. This will be going on top of our pork chops later for more, like, you know, an aromatic flavor. So I'm just slicing it off first, and then I'm just cutting it randomly. You could do it rough or fine, up to you. Alright, next I'm going to be using 1/8 of a bell pepper, but if you have jalapeno peppers, I would recommend you to use that because that's where all the flavor comes from, but I don't have that, so I'm just using plain old bell pepper, doing 2 slices, and I'm cutting them into 1/2 inch cubes, just like so. You could do more or less if you would prefer, but I would recommend jalapenos for sure. Alright, next off we're going to be making our 5 spice salt, which is the junyu part. We're going to be using 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and then we're going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of the 5 spice powder. You could use 1/2 teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon, it's up to you. If you want more of that flavor, use 1/4. Now we're going to measure out our tapioca starch. We're going to be using 3/4 cups of tapioca starch to bread our pork chops later on. So just put in a nice medium bowl and just put it aside. Alright, next we got our pork chops. I have 5 pork chops here. I'm just gonna trim off the bone with any pork chops that the bone is located in the middle of the pork chop, or unevenly the round ones. I'm not gonna do the ones that are the one on the side. I'm gonna show you that later on, but yeah, I'm just gonna trim off the meat if the bone is in the middle, just like so. And any type of like thick fat that you see, you don't really want that because that's not healthy for you. So just go ahead and trim your pork chops first, and then we're gonna start seasoning it off later. Alright, so right there is an example of a pork chop that I would not trim. Alright, so now we're going to start seasoning off our pork chops. So we're going to start off with some Chinese cooking wine. We're going to add about 1/4 cup of the wine and just splash it right in. And then make sure you thoroughly mix it in and make sure every single pork chop has it. Now we're going to add in our salt that we made before and make sure it is spread evenly. We don't want any pork chops that have more salt than others. And then add a little bit more wine. I added about 1/4 cup more because it was a bit dry. Just make sure you stir it thoroughly, and then we're going to start flouring it soon. Alright, now I'm just going to add a little bit of tapioca starch at a time. I saved a little bit more for later, and we're just going to mix this pretty evenly right now, and then add in the rest when you feel the need to. And this is what it should look like at the end. Every single piece should be evenly coated. And then now we're going to start frying it. So you want to heat up about 2 inches of oil in a pan and make sure it's at 375 before adding in your pork chop. And then you're going to want to fry it on each side for around 3 to 5 minutes, depending on, you know, what type of pan you have or what. So just put it in like so. I put a thing on top to prevent the grease from splattering everywhere, and I'll see you back in 5 minutes. And also, this is the rack that I made. We're not going to be using paper towel because that would just make the pork chops more soggy later. Once it's golden brown like so, just flip it and repeat it for all the pork chops you have, and I'll see you once it's done.
and that's an example of me just laying it there so the oil will drip to the bottom and it won't re-soak back in. And look how crispy it is. Alright, once you're done frying your pork chop, we're going to start browning off our garlic and pepper. And look how nice these pork chops look. This is restaurant quality right here, literally. So add a tablespoon of butter. I feel the need you might want 2 tablespoons of butter because there's not enough of this garlic sauce, so do 2 tablespoons. Once it's melted, you're going to want to add in your 7 cloves of garlic that is minced, and then your 1/8 of a pepper in it as well. Once again, I recommend jalapenos because that's where most of the flavor comes from. So just add it in and saute it for around 2 to 3 minutes on a medium-low setting, and then once it turns golden brown in a second, you're going to want to add in your pork chops and just stir it around and make sure those that buttery sauce goes on the pork chop because that is amazing. Just give it a vigorous stir and then just put it back on the rack, and then we're gonna start plating the pork chops in a second. Alright, now we're plating it. So I'm just going to put the biggest pork chops on the bottom and then stack it high with the tinier ones. And then we're going to add the nice brown garlic and pepper right on top. That's flavor right there, okay? So just do it like so. And then pretty much that's the salt and pepper pork chop. And then I'll see you at the taste test.
Here is our salt and pepper pork chop. So I didn't have any jalapeno peppers, but you would want to use it because that's where majority of the flavor come from. But it should still taste good. Look how crispy this is. You just hear it crunch. This tastes like if you were gonna get it at a Chinese restaurant. Flat out. Nice and crispy. Look at this. This is restaurant quality right here. Come on. For the fraction of the price. Homemade. Really fresh. You know the oil's clean. Delicious. Amazing garlic flavor, straight out, freaking amazing. One more piece. Oh yeah. The 5-spice complements the pork so well. 5-spice, I think, is for many pork dishes. Like you use it in char siu, use it in roasted pork. Unbelievable. Well, that is it, guys. Please be sure to subscribe and drop a like below. This was not an easy video to make. I almost dropped the phone in oil. Could have been a disaster. So please show some support and smash the like button. Goodbye.